Hey, welcome. So I want you to picture this for a second. Staying strong, sharp, and just full of energy well into your later years. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's really not. Today, we're going to break down what the science actually says about adding not just more years to your life, but more life to your years. Let's dig in.
So this is really the big question, isn't it? I mean, it's not just about hitting some big number, it's about making sure those years are genuinely healthy and vibrant. And you know what? The answer is way more in our control than you probably think.
You can just forget the idea that your lifespan is somehow set in stone. The research is so clear on this. Life expectancy is not a fixed number, and we have real, tangible power to influence it. But to really get how, we first have to understand the big challenge we're up against.
Okay, let's start with something that's kind of like a paradox. See, while we, as a species, are living longer than ever before, it feels like we might be hitting a bit of a wall.
Right? Here's the catch. Yes, on a global scale, life expectancy is up, and that is fantastic news. But if you look at the places where people already live the longest, those big, exciting jumps in lifespan, they've started to level off. Progress has really slowed to a crawl.
I mean, think about it. The 20th century saw these absolutely massive gains. We were conquering infectious diseases, improving sanitation, making these huge strides. But the gains of the 21st century, so far they've been way more modest. So what's going on?
Well, the challenge has just fundamentally shifted. Back in the day, the low-hanging fruit was preventing people from dying young. Easy wins, relatively speaking. But now, to make the next big leap, we have to tackle something way more complex. The actual biological process of aging. And that is a whole different ballgame.
So that kind of begs the question, right? Do we just sit back and wait for some futuristic tech or maybe a miracle pill to solve this whole aging puzzle for us? Well, the science says there's a much better and more immediate answer. And that answer brings us right back to you. See, the solution isn't necessarily in some high-tech lab decades from now. It's right here, in the small choices that we're all making every single day.
This is probably the most important thing to take away from all this. You don't have to wait. You are the breakthrough. Your daily choices are right now the most powerful tool we have to add meaningful, healthy years to our lives.
And we're not talking about tiny little changes either. Major studies show that making consistent, positive lifestyle choices can add a decade or even more of healthy years to your life compared to doing nothing. That is a staggering amount of time. That's huge.
Okay, so if the power is in our hands, what do we actually do with it? Let's get practical. It's time to open up the evidence-based toolkit. These are the 6 habits that researchers find again and again and again in the longest-lived, healthiest people on Earth. All right, here they are. First, avoid smoking. That is often the single biggest boost you can give your long-term health, period. Then, move naturally. Integrate activity into your day. Eat mostly plants to give your body the right fuel. Prioritize sleep, which is just critical for repair. Maintain a healthy weight to reduce strain. And finally, build strong social connections to lower stress. The combined power of these is just immense. Let's zoom in on a couple of key ones. First up, what you eat. You know, the research overwhelmingly points toward a plant-heavy diet. This means loading up your plate with veggies, fruits, beans, whole grains, all the good stuff. It's not about being perfect, right? It's just about tilting that balance away from processed foods, sugars, and red meats. Next up is movement. And notice how we say that, move your body. It doesn't say destroy yourself at the gym. It's about building natural, consistent movement into your life. In fact, research from the American Heart Association shows that just 150 minutes of moderate activity a week, that's basically a brisk 22-minute walk each day, can cut your risk of dying from any cause by over 20%. That's incredible.
Now, it's totally fair to ask about genetics. And yeah, of course, your genes can influence things. But here's the really empowering part. Think of your genes as the hand of cards you're dealt. Your lifestyle, that's how you play the hand. And that gives you huge control over the outcome.
So as we start to pull all this together, I want to talk about a really crucial idea. The goal here isn't just about living as long as possible. The real prize is extending what scientists call your health span.
So what is health span? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the period of your life when you feel fantastic, when you're active, when you're full of energy. It is all about the quality of your years, not just the quantity. That's the ultimate goal.
And the best part? You don't have to change everything overnight.
The research shows that stacking even small, modest habits like getting a bit more sleep, adding some extra movement, eating slightly better, they combine to add a full healthy year or even more to your life. It all adds up.
So, the bottom line is this. We can all hope for some radical scientific breakthroughs in the future, but they're not guaranteed. But what is within our control, what is guaranteed, is that the positive choices we make today will reliably and measurably improve our future.
And that brings us to the final and really the most important question of all. This isn't just theory, this is personal. After hearing all this, which one habit are you going to choose to focus on, starting today?
Look, it doesn't have to be a massive overhaul. Your first step can be so simple. Maybe it really is just taking that 20-minute walk after dinner. Or maybe it's as simple as adding one more serving of veggies to your plate. Or hey, maybe it's picking up the phone to connect with someone you care about. Small steps really do add up to big results. Go out there and make those extra years count.